welcome to the first panel discussion that we have. The topic for the panel discussion is applied AI in cybersecurity. Does it work? Now, before I throw the questions to the panel, right, we all have seen that AI has been transformative. A lot of organizations believe in the use of AI, but there are others that actually questions the effectiveness of AI, right, and the challenges that comes with the use of AI. So that leads to the topic of today: applied AI in cybersecurity. Does it work? Now, before I throw any questions to the panel, I open it up to the floor. Any one of you have any questions for the panel? You don't have to pay for the questions. It's free of charge to us. It's free consulting. We are here to provide the consulting to you guys. You got no consulting questions you want to ask? All right, if that is the case, I will start with the first question to kick off the discussion, right? And maybe I should call upon Alex. Okay, since you are the first one I met this morning. Right. What are your perspectives on how AI is being applied in cybersecurity today?
Wow, that's a big one to start. I think we've seen on many of the talks this morning that I think as an industry and on the solution provider side, everyone is trying to leverage AI to some degree, whether it's in detection, whether it's on our case, for example, in the response, in investigation, in threat hunting, etc. I think we've been doing a lot of research, a lot of R&D in order to try to leverage the power of these new technologies. I do believe that there's a lot of focus on leveraging AI for detection and identifying bad behavior or preventing bad behavior. I think we see for us a lot of success in using AI to kind of amplify the skill set and kind of make people do a lot more, a lot better, a lot faster, as opposed to replace what they do. That's kind of been our way of trying to adopt these tools and these technologies, leveraging it so that, for example, you can build a threat hunting query faster instead of spending hours and hours trying to fine tune it. Or you can attribute a certain activity to a threat actor, easier thanks to those tools. For us, it's really been about that training, giving access to these tools, and then enabling our people to leverage them to perform better, to do more interesting work, to basically increase the value that actually their work produces. And we see positive results. We've reduced our mean time to response by nearly 50% since we've been introducing some of these tools. So we see drastic improvement, and that impacts positively our security.
Right. So that's the kind of typical response you will get from consultants, right? Alex from Theos Consult Cyber. Right, very positive attitude towards the use of AI. The use of AI to be more effective, to help you in threat hunting, threat detection, right? But what about other thoughts from any one of you? Thinking from the bad actor side. No bad actors in here. To be a good defender, you need to be an attacker first, right? So, you need to be the bad guy first before you can be the good guys, right?
I can give you the bad guy perspective if you want.
All right,
good. Similarly, I think that the way we are trying to do it on the good guy side, that we are obviously aware that the bad guys are doing it on their end too. So we kind of operate some red team type of capability internally, and we leverage the tools, the same way that I think some of the bad guys are doing. I think we've seen some examples also earlier about crafting better emails, more convincing phishing campaigns, etc. You used to detect or identify phishing or scam emails just because they were mistaken spelling or the language is not clean, etc. That's over because obviously they use the same tools as we do, and they write better emails than we even do. We use it to craft exploits. We use it to implement. If we find a vulnerability, we can again put some queries together and generate some potential scripts to exploit those vulnerabilities. We can put together sort of what's the best next step given the current situation I'm in when I'm trying to exfiltrate data or compromise an asset. So it's like having your little consultant, next to you, and basically it can really help you, in a bad way as well.
Right, there you go. So if you're looking for a consultant, don't only look for those that can do good things. You need to learn from those that can do bad things so that they can do the bad and good. That's where you get experienced consultant like Alex from Pure Cyber. Right? That's the value for money for his consulting. Okay? Before I ask the next question, I saw a message earlier that those online, if you have questions to ask, you can ask in the chat, but I cannot read the chat. So I don't know how can I present your question that you present in the chat. Okay.
Prof, can I add to what
Sure.
Alex is saying?
You,
So from a perspective of every vendor in this room, I tend to have the mindset that integrating AI into all the product sets that you launch is inevitable, right? Because the order of magnitude in terms of data growth and complexity will not lessen. So it will only explode. So the only way for us to cope as an industry in terms of correcting specific issues is the use of AI. For example, we have found that, and I think this is statistics bear this out, right? So most of the issues with regards to any particular product is really around misconfiguration. And misconfiguration is an element of human error, right? AI will incrementally make us better in terms of fixing misconfiguration, especially if we adapt natural language into the program itself, right? And that is only going to improve as we train. Generative AI gets better as long as we train it, right? And the more data we feed these particular data sets or data lakes, the more configurations get better. So if we use that as a mindset, then we as an industry would also have less incidents or breaches. Because as the saying goes, right, I don't need to hack in if I can log in, right? Basic principle, right? That's just what I have to say about that.
all right, thanks, Andreas, for sharing that as well. So it's great to hear the insight from the panelists here, right? Their insights on the current use of AI, the use of AI, the good and the bad of using AI in cybersecurity. Not to encourage you to use the bad of AIs, but basically, if you learn about AI, it's better, good for us to embrace it, right? So that leads me to my next question. So I'm not sure who I can ask for the next question, but what I have in here is Jessica has volunteered to answer the next question. What are the key advancements in AI that you can believe are improving most beneficial for cybersecurity today?
Thank you for that wonderful question. But the question is about the advancement
Yeah.
in cybersecurity, not the bad guys, right?
The key advancement in AI that is beneficial for cybersecurity
Yep.
today.
So I think on my presentation earlier, I discussed some of the things that we can leverage using AI on cybersecurity. We have the enhanced detection and response. We also have automated response when it comes to threats. But the good thing about the advancement on AI is we use it as well for, let's say, behavioral analytics. Let's say, for example, it's not about the threats that we can see on the devices or on the sensors that we have, but we leverage on the behavior of the users. Meaning, let's say, for example, for a particular day, you have a laptop that actually accessing the workplace for a weekday. And then eventually you can see that that laptop is actually downloading files on a weekend. That is something suspicious for us. So using AI, we can identify that that is probably a breach for a particular customer. Another thing that we can see is advancement when it comes to phishing. I think phishing is, it's been in the industry for around 20 years, I think, phishing. So it's still very difficult to identify the phishing. But the advancement when it comes to AI is that it has been used as well when it comes to voice cloning. Familiar with that? We can actually have right now the deepfakes, which is a real problem when it comes to cybersecurity. By the way, in Trend Micro, plug ko lang, we actually have what we call deepfake detector. That is a free tool that can be consumed by our customers. So just in case, so one of the advancement that we have when it comes to AI is we can now identify that kind of advancement when it comes to these types of attacks. So deepfakes and as well as the phishings. And of course, lastly, when it comes to threats, not only that we use AI for identifying what could be done on our environment, but we use AI as well for generating some of the reports that we need. Of course, when you talk to your board members, right, you don't say, "Oh, this is our risk," but there is no translation when it comes to business. So when it comes to AI, we can leverage that as well for a business context. So I think that's something that I can maybe someone can also share others.
All right, thank you for the comments. So, basically she said about using AI to sort of detect things that is bad, even those bad attacks that is generated by AI itself. So it's like using AI to defeat AI AI activities, right? So that is a trend micro view. So when we hear from one vendor, we want to give another opportunity to the other vendor to voice his opinion, right? So I give the floor to Victor before I pass it to Wes.
Yeah. So, so with the many advancement that AI is giving us, this needs to be carefully thought as well before implementing in our organization. There will be some concerns around usage of generative AI. That includes data security and data privacy. Because of the openness of these AI tools that we can use, we tend to input things or key in valuable or corporate assets or sensitive information. And these corporate informations, when feeded into the systems, can get to the wrong hands of the attackers as well. Another concern about AI usage is bias. So, for example, the AI, like its very nature, it's trained on data. So, if you feed more data on it, it gets more intelligent. But what you feed on it is what basically it's learning. And there may be a situation where a user would ask, or prompt chat GPT, for example, 1 plus 1 is equals to what? Practically the answer is 2, right? Then you ask the system again, 1 plus 1 is equal to what? Then ChatGPT answers 2 again. Okay, then another you repeat, but you said, no, it's 3. Okay, then you ask again, 1 plus 1 is equals to 2. Then the ChatGPT answer is 2, but you said it's 3. All along, the AI is also learning to you. Subsequently, the last time you answer or you ask the system, the fourth time, what is 1 plus 1 is equals to what? Then the system or the AI now answers is equals to 3. So there must be some regulations as well on what is being put in the system or what is being fed as data on AI.
Right. Thanks for sharing that. So basically what Victor just said is, a term what we call prompt injections. So you're basically injecting wrong information to the AI machine that they learn wrongly over time, right? And that's one of the challenge or one of the dangers of using AI. Now, I don't want to talk too much. I will give it to Wes to share his view.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I think of it, all of these questions can really be summarized by the key phrase of efficiency. Both the good guys and the bad guys are leveraging AI to increase their efficacy, capabilities, and efficiency for how they can develop solutions, develop attack vectors, and process larger amounts of information. And so as long as an industry, we look at things from that perspective of let's use this to make things better, then instead of relying upon AI, then we're going to get progress out of it. If we use it as a key component and build things around solely the use of it, then it's actually going to be a detractor to technology, in my opinion.
Right. So despite all the advancements that we have in AI, right, as you can hear from the discussion, that there are still some challenges in the use of AI, right? So we see what obstacle do you see in integrating AI into the cybersecurity framework? Anyone? Wes?
Well, I mean, as far as obstacles, it's really about getting consistent quality output from it. We're still at a stage where the data that comes out of large language models isn't necessarily something that can be completely trusted. A great example of prompt and data poisoning was used by Victor, and we see that by adversaries targeting the AIs and LLMs today directly by poisoning the data, by feeding poor information, by even trying to get it to go outside of its restrictions and do things that it's not supposed to. And that's actually one of the first things that I try when I learn of a new service that has some kind of a chat GPT wrapper on it, is I see what other data that it will actually give me, leading to privacy and risk concerns of data leakage. So anytime that we look at employing any form of AI today, it's not necessarily directly to the front line with interfaces to either the public or even customers. It's solely in a manner where we can still maintain it and keep it, because it's still such a black box that we don't really know what's happening within there in a way that we can get the data out with consistency and quality. So until we're at that point, then we should all still be a little bit hesitant to as far as the risks of AI adoption.
Anyone else from the panel want to add to that?
Yeah, I think to kind of also go a little bit in that direction. For me, one of the main risks in using these technologies is sometimes to over-rely on what they say or what they produce. I've seen examples where you receive a report or recommendation or whatever, and clearly it's been generated by some kind of chat GPT or some sort. And actually the advice or what's written is not really accurate or not really relevant. And I think that if we just blindly go and start just using it and taking it as it comes, we run the risk of actually not understanding what we're producing, not having accurate data or accurate information. And I think if you put those tools, with great power comes great responsibility. If you put those tools in the hands of inexperienced teams or individuals who've not understood how it works or how to use it properly or don't understand its limits, then yeah, potentially you run the risk of creating damage as opposed to gaining efficacy or efficiency.
Right. So Victor shared earlier about data poisoning, right, which is actually one of the top top 10 LLM danger of using LLM. And then Wes shared about having data consistency, right, and trusting the data, and making sure that you test it correctly, right. That leads to Alex's points as well. So from there, Alex, from your own experience of observation, what practical outcomes have you seen from deploying AI in this field, in the field of cybersecurity?
Well, I think we kind of touched on a few examples, but as outcomes, in the incident response world, faster response, more efficient steps is one key outcome that we are looking for and that we're constantly trying to work on, be faster than the guys on the other side. I think for us, that's probably the main sort of key outcomes that we're seeing in one of the the ways we are leveraging this type of technology. Obviously, the accuracy on detections. Running one of the major pain points of running a security operations center is alert fatigue. Too many detections, too many alerts. It just gets tiring to go through this every day. So having better rating, better prioritization, better suggestions, and some kind of pre-processing allows us to reduce the amount of false positive that we gather and that actually our analysts had to go through. So for us, in that sort of setup on the SOC side, reduction of false positive and alert fatigue, and then faster response times.
Right, thanks. So those of you guys here or those online, right, if you work in the security operations center, this is one area that you can use AI in terms of log analysis, determine anomalies in your logs that makes your job easier so that you can have a longer copy hour break as well, right? Anyone care to share? Yes.
Ladies first.
Okay, okay. So my turn. So I think when it comes to outcomes on using AI on cybersecurity, we can see some advancement when it comes to identifying the risk. Because at the end of the day, the threats that we encounter, the threats that we are fighting is actually because of the risk that we have on our environment. Example, if we have exposures in our environment, if we can actually do some mitigations on that, like patching our system, then eventually we can lower down the threats that we have. And well, I don't say that there is 100% security while you patch your system. But what I'm saying is that the more that we do some mitigations on our environment to lower down the risk that we have, then we can lower down as well the excess. It's actually a cycle when it comes to cybersecurity. And I think something that we need to have an outcome as well is that when it comes to reporting, I think everyone actually have a problem with that. And reporting is something that the organizations need to have so that they can say that okay, we're doing good when it comes to security, and this is something that the cost savings that we have. So I think that is something that we need to have when it comes to an outcome using an AI on cybersecurity.
Actually, I was just going to add, I mean, Alex did a good job of basically enunciating what I was supposed to say. But just to add to that, right? So I think from an outcome perspective, we see better configurations because of AI assistance. Number two is faster response time. You're right, Alex. And really, from a false positive perspective, that is true. We see that because from a perspective of improving AI, it's really about the data and the quality of the data that you feed into AI. You might have heard we actually bought a company called Splunk for 28 billion, and people said we were really crazy to do that. But when you look at it, we had access to a big amount of data that they've already collected through the years from their SIM and SOC operations, which we are now able to integrate to our other products, right? So really, from an outcome perspective, we see with data coming online and feeding these AI data lakes, it will only get better. And lastly, I think the outcome from a security operations perspective, and that's why Alex is doing a good job because his company is really helping manage services for security teams because we all know there's really a shortage of talent and there's not going to be any improvement in terms of talent, right? So AI is just helping bridge that gap in terms of making the security teams more efficient and helping the likes of MSPs like Mr. Alex here just respond better and faster.
Right. So again, we hear about the need for data accuracy, the need for data, right, to learn from the data to be more accurate. We also hear from Jessica, the roles in the group here about reporting. You still have problem with reporting, and you still use AI, and you still have problem with it. You can always come to AIM, and we can help you in that area. Right. I'm standing up because I have questions, but I'm not going to put my questions because I see the question on the chat, which I can't read. 61-year-old guy like me, I don't have a good eyesight. So the question from Levi's Cruz: can anyone in the panel cite a pure AI-initiated, non-human caused incident? That means an incident that is caused by AI itself, right? That is significant enough to consider it a tipping point benchmark to re-engineer the internet. Wow. I'm not sure whether anybody can really re-engineer the internet, but that's not a question for me, it's for the panel. So I'll be the one learning from the panel. Anyone from the panel?
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about that. Not specifically answer that question directly, but there is a theory of the concept of that the internet's already dead. There's actually very few humans that we interact with on the internet. And the thought process is that within the last decade, the shift happened where most content on the internet was now actually generated through generative AI. And this is only going to be a situation or problem that continues to get worse, where now, and going back to the keynote this morning, it becomes a scenario where now we have things that we have to concern about with propaganda, fake news, even in the cybersecurity world of misinformation and disinformation being propagated at speeds that we cannot contain or control. So if you're in an organization that runs its own cyber threat intelligence, the same things apply from that side, where we need to take into consideration the data that's feeding into our organization's intelligence on how we respond to things and how we build our organization's structure to best prepare ourselves as this continues to get worse and will only get worse as time goes on.
Anyone else care to share your thoughts? Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to add on
Tita.
that. Okay, but my answer is not practically re-engineering the internet. I'd like to cite an example that could be devastating in terms of AI usage. Let's take a scenario where a nurse would consult ChatGPT or an AI tool about medications to a patient. Personally, you can ask yourself, are you trusting or is it good enough to trust the AI to ask it about the medication, okay, to the patient? So if you trust that, maybe the system or the AI, generative AI would give you wrong medication, which could lead to death. So again, in this situation, there must be cautions. Okay, and again, human as being the most weakest point, we have to practice security as well and careful consideration usage of this, avoiding this to happen.
Right. So yes, again, sharing the importance of us when we use generative AI or information from the internet, we have to be careful as to whether the information is misinformation or the correct information. Right. Sorry, it seems I'm giving a lecture in the class, but I'm not. Okay. The question from Aman. Before that, Levy, I hope the panelists answer your questions, right? So the question from Aman is, what security measures should be in place to protect the AI system from attacks such as data poisoning? So this is one chance for the vendor to answer the question to sell your products in the process. Okay. Anyone, ladies?
Okay. So, well, in Trend Micro, we actually have what we call security for our AI. So I think that is the question that is asked. So security measures. Well, one, we aside from identifying what are the AI tools that is being used, we need to identify as well how the AI is being used on the organization. Let's say, for example, when the employees use the AI for productivity, so they put in information, probably the information that they put in is some sensitive information. If that is allowed to be fed in on our AI, that's a problem for the organization because that will be leaked externally, right? So having a set of solution for security measures on AI, we need to identify number one is the uploaded data is sensitive. If that is sensitive, then we need to do something about it, like block it or not allow it to be shared externally. Second, when it comes to prompting, probably malicious actors can use it for generating codes for them, like what Alex had shared earlier. They can use it for better emails. They can use it for creating more attack on the verge of our customers. But when you do the prompting, we need to identify if that is something that we need to settle on or we need to block on our side. Let's say, for example, I be using it to ask, can you create another code like this one? So when the AI actually identify that, probably the AI should know that that is a sensitive information from that on that standpoint. So doing inline blocking can actually add on that. So I think that is something as simple as that, blocking the things that is should not be shared externally and as well as blocking the prompts that should not be shared as well.
Right. So security measures like policies in place, using solution like Trend Micro to detect right misinformation or to the Cisco guide misconfiguration, right? But let's hear from the consulting guys from here, right? Anyone?
Okay, I don't sell any products, so let me try.
That's good.
So one of the approach, I think, okay, maybe to kind of set a bit of context, right? Some of these tools, and we seem to assume by default that we talk a lot about ChatGPT and those type of things, which obviously are online. The data, as soon as you put it in there, it goes somewhere, you don't know where. But not all the tools have to be run this way. You can run certain models, certain tools on your own infrastructure. It's not connected to the internet. It does not extract data. It can learn from the data set that you already own. And in that sense, it's perfectly fine in principle, to use it to generate data that's going to be consumed internally, using data that's internal, that's confidential, that's private to your own organization. You don't have to assume that, accessing this tool, you have to give your data up. You don't have necessarily to do that. If you're looking for information that's public, then that's fine. But if you're trying to, get insights from your own data, whether it's for reporting, whether it's to generate some sort of document or some sort of code, you can apply it to your own data, run the model internally. You don't have to, just give your data up.
Right. So you can actually run your own private LLMs, right, within your own organization, right? So that will help to contain the data within your own organization. Although the screen shows times up. Any last question from the floor? Yes, sir.
My question arose because of the example that was given earlier by Victor. Using AI, you instructed it to block the IP. Bam, it's automatic. Okay, simple, no-brainer. But as we said, AI is also learning. Maybe it will make a suggestion that during the last time, you did not only block the IP address, but you also blocked the certain ports. So I'm addressing this question to any panel. Okay, how can we safeguard? How can we put some safeguard that as the AI learns more and more, it will not meddle on our decision, on the things that we the humans have to decide on. Kasi in the future, they might be, if AI learns too much, they are making the decisions themselves rather than the humans.
So it's a question of, how do you restrict the AI from, after they learn more to make decision on their own, right, without your interference. It's like telling your daughter, your son, right? I've teach you so much, and when you grow up, don't tell your father what to do, right? So anyone?
Can I address that now? So we kind of think that AI should be autonomous, right? So ultimately, the way that you should roll out any solution out there should still give humans the ability to decide, right? Until such time that you are comfortable to make it autonomous. No, I don't think any vendor will go out there, especially with still developing, as someone said, still developing some guardrails around AI, that will launch a product will promise an autonomous way to do everything. So ultimately, the decision should be still yours. So any product that's being rolled out, especially I speak for Cisco in particular, we give you the choice. If you gain some confidence, you want to make it autonomous, sure, that is their decision. Or you still have to decide based on their recommendation, of the AI's recommendation.
All right, time's up. Anyone to share your last comments? Yes, Wes? Keep smiling.
I always have last comments, but to that point and to all of these points, it's really that we can't ignore our security fundamentals in application to AI. We still have to think of things in the same way, with same segmentation, compartmentalization, and use the same types of mentality that we have with things like MITRE ATT&CK and defend when applied to AI solutions, AI technologies, and AI security products. Ultimately, this is really just a tool to allow us to get from reactive to proactive. And as we continue to grow, this efficiency is going to continue to gain, but we still need to use best practices and our sane mind about how we apply these technologies.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you all for sharing your insightful perspective on the role of AI in cybersecurity. Right, it's clear from the discussion that we have that AI actually offers tremendous benefits, but it also comes with its challenges, right? And we need to somehow rather address those challenges as we use AI, but it's not to discourage you to the use of AI, right? It is important for us to embrace AI, right? Because AI will not replace human being, but human being will be replaced by human being with AI. So a human with AI will replace the human. This is a study that is given by Harvard University. Right. Once again, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the panel discussion today.
Thank you.